Yes, it's Funky Friday. Good morning, everybody. Yes, we'll turn it down so you can hear me a little better, but happy Friday. It is Friday, right? Yes, it is. And I am enjoying the smooth groove. I like this. My music service is awesome. Anyway, boy, do we have a lot today, and I don't have the time restrictions I had yesterday. So we're going to, we may go a little longer than I'm used to, but we'll see, because I got so much on the docket. Ideally, I go my normal amount of time, even though it's not the right time. It's the right time of the night. Well, it's not time for that. Anyway, thank you to all person for sponsoring the show right off the bat. Yes, happy National White Chocolate Day. I hope you're not calling me white chocolate. I may be light, but I'm still a black man. Anyway, who's the dude? Who's the dude that used to play in the NBA? They called him White Chocolate because he was such a baller. He was a point guard. Can't remember his name though. His nickname was White Chocolate. Probably not the only one. There's probably plenty of white chocolate. But happy White Chocolate Day. Dropping a deuce in the tip jar. Mr. Tall Person, get my day started off right, because, the bill's coming in. I can't wait. Anyway, shall we? We're going to talk about latrine. We're going to talk about the auto workers. We're going to talk about, there's breaking news about Senator Robert Menendez. There's also, there's all kinds of things going on. Why is that one in the wrong order, though? I got one in the wrong order. Let's move that over so I get them straight. A couple birthdays to acknowledge, too, which we'll do right off the bat, right after the intro. So are y'all ready for a Friday edition of the Morning Night Live? I sure am. Johnny, please stop that music and play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Hell to the yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we get this thing started? Of course we should. Let's get it going. Stop the music. Here we go. Good morning to you, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel, where we're going to talk about the hardest job in the world, or is it the easiest job in the world? I can't decide if Latrine Jean-Pierre has the world's hardest job or the world's easiest job. Because sometimes, if you're supposed to be answering questions, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe she doesn't have to. Maybe that's why her job's easy. Someone asks a question, she just doesn't answer it. That's easy. Just don't answer it. Just make up some shit. And I wonder maybe it's the world's hardest job to lie for this administration. But I think every White House press secretary has a tough job in a way, because you got to make up for some of the foibles of every administration. Every administration has them, but it just seems like most of the media that when there's a Democrat president, they're like, again, I use this term with the utmost respect. They're professional taint cleaners, and they use their tongues, and they do a great job for Democrats. But then when it comes to Republicans, they've got the poison arrow darts that they got from somewhere in the Brazilian rainforest, and they're throwing them every time. And the Republican press secretaries are always doing that. Oh, that hurt. I shouldn't have moved so fast. I forgot I have a new hip. Anyway, I welcome to the show, and I got a new goal, as you can see, down here for the over the next few weeks, trying to raise some funds. So if you can, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's a free show. It always is. Anyway, so let's say good morning, everybody, and get this thing started, because I got so much to talk about. It's I got a ton, and I could have put I could have put 50 articles up today because there's so much going on. But I'm going to stick with stuff that's a little more breaking news-ish today, which I like to do because then I'm talking about stuff that you're going to hear about later in the day. And some of this stuff is just truly breaking. So we'll get to that after I say hello. First to chat over Rumbles, Mr. Avocados Diablo gets the bell. In fact, I got you 2 bells there, brother. Good morning also to my friend Jimmy Das Hotep from Hotep Nation. And it's kind of funny because someone had a post. They're complaining how, wait, there's white people using the word Hotep now. White people are using Hotep. And I saw Jimmy's response. But I thought it was funny, and I know if some of you are like, what does Hotep mean? You got to look that up. But basically, Hotep is a word for peace, but it's also... it's a kind of not a new movement, but a movement that's kind of starting among people who are responsible for their own actions or whatever. Mainly black people, but it's not restricted to black people. If you're a man or a woman who just take responsibility yourself and you become at peace with it, that's kind of what Hotep means. But it was at one point it's considered a derogatory term, and so. A couple of our friends who started this movement is like, they were, one of them was one of the, if you looked on YouTube and you were looking for the first guy in a MAGA hat, probably Uncle Hotep was one of them. And he's a personal responsibility guy, takes care of his family, takes care of his business. And that's kind of what it's about. And so, how some brothers decide to take the N-word, the N-bomb, and make it their own. Well, Hotep's decided to make Hotep, Jesus, Hotep, Uncle Hotep, and all that group, which I go to Hotep Nation conference. I'm going to start doing it on a regular basis every year. But anyway, basically took that word and made it a positive and made it something that's good. And we don't care what your race is. So, we got a lot of white brothers out here being Hoteps, Hispanic brothers, everybody. It's not restricted to black people because it's a mindset. Yes, Jason Williams. Thank you, tall person. Yeah, it's a mindset. It's not about what your race is. It's about how you conduct your life and what you're trying to do and improve your life and whatnot. That. So anyway, but some people now, people who didn't like the term, who didn't want the term, people throwing away the term, are complaining that there might be some white brothers out here using the word right and using it correctly. Not in the derogatory sense, but the correct sense. So anyway. So, anyone who wants to understand what they're doing, go listen to our friends, Hotep Jesus, Uncle Hotep, Cannon comes in here quite a bit, and Jimmy, obviously. Jimmy, man, is a great fellow, man. And I tell you, taking responsibility for your health and stuff just makes me proud of you, brother. So anyway, went way too long on that, but, good morning to our friend. Also, good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg, and tall person in the house. And I think that's everyone on Rumble that I can see so far. If you're on Rumble, if you're one of the 12 watching on Rumble, please sound off. Also, good morning over on YouTube. First in the chat is again Avocados Diablo gets the bell. And good morning to our friend Jesse Leon, Mike Savage, Blarg, Tyrannus, Alexandrius, the Grand Inquisitor, Tyre Alexander. How you doing, brother? Good morning. Good morning also to Lord Stanhope. And, y'all been, okay, let me figure this out. Good morning, Rick Ashbreaker. Good morning, Somnambule Nation, who has already tweeted on the show. I appreciate that. Share the stream right now while I'm just babbling about. Share the stream. Good morning also to Special Can Acid. What's up? Spidey Man's back. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Woodcutter. Did they scroll too far? Anna Lynn's in the house, and Swirly's here, and that might be it. Is that everybody? Selected Boys in the house. Yeah, boy. Good morning, my favorite Canadian Jaeger ponies here. I gotta scroll backwards because I obviously scrolled too fast. I think I'm getting there. Okay, looks like I'm caught up, and then people probably just slowly rolling in. So I'll figure it out. I'll see you. I'll see you when you get here, or see you when you make yourself known. Make yourself known in the chat. Okay, that'd be great. And so we already got 22 people here on YouTube, 12 on Rumble. That's good. Go ahead and hit that like button now. Just get it over with, because you know, right? I'm just saying. All right, shall we get into the news now? A couple birthdays today that we got to talk about, and now, I'm not so sure about. Oh, thank you, by the way, tall person, for retweeting the show or tweeting out the show. I appreciate you. Y'all share the stream. That's number one right now. And Dawn G, thank you for retweeting somebody's tweet. That was Somnable Nation's tweet. Yeah, y'all, thank you so much. I'm retweeting y'all right now myself. So, did I get Jimmy? I didn't retweet Jimmy Dazotep. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, I'm doing that as we speak. Good. Thank you also. Who is this? Someone named oh, that's a fake account. That's got to be a fake account. Brand new fake account. Lillian. Because you always know when it's an account with a name and a bunch of numbers behind it, and it has some cute little Asian woman on there. It's 99 times out of 100 is a fake account. Because usually they don't have many followers, but they're following like 400 or 500 people. So anyway, watching P-Dog's gears turn in real time. I don't know what that means. I guess I do know what that means. Anyway, all right, let's talk about the birthdays today. Usually I try to bring up one significant one, and this one is significant for my childhood because of one song that just blew this woman up completely, and it's her birthday day. In fact, she was in a famous band before she became famous as a solo artist. She was part of the Runaways. Today is Joan Jett's 65th birthday. Does that make anybody feel old? It's Joan Jett's 65th birthday. Are you kidding me? I mean, I knew she was, and she's a little bit older than me. Well, a little bit, but man, Joan Jett's 65 years old. And I remember she was rocking out back in was it like 1980 that song came out? I love rock and roll. Put another dime in the jukebox, baby. Anyway, Joan Jett, 65 years old. She did a nice cover of Crimson and Clover. She did, and is I Love Rock and Roll a remake? I think it might be a remake. But at her style, you'd think that's her own song. And she had a few hits back in the day. Here's a cool picture of Lita Ford, Debbie Harry, and Joan Jett in 1977. Lita Ford was also part of the Runaways. Lita Ford had a mild, she had a solo career, but her pretty much had one big song, Kiss Me Deadly. And then Debbie Harry, of course, of Blondie. But anyway, Joan Jett is 65 years old today. Does that make anyone feel old? Does that make anyone feel old? Yes, I mumble to myself all the time. So there you go. Yes, originally the Arrows. I thought it was a cover, but when I was a kid, that was her song, and she made it her song. I mean, if I think of that song, I'm not thinking of the Arrows. I'm thinking of Joan Jett. All right. Also, another birthday day, for whatever reason, it's trending on Twitter, and I can't figure it out. Dana Perino, the former press secretary for George W. Bush, her dog Percy is trending today because it's Percy's second birthday, and there are just a ton of people celebrating Percy's birthday today, and I just can't figure it out. I don't know, and for one thing, Dana Perino loves her dogs, right? And I know she had another dog that used to get a lot of attention when she was in the White House. And I just, it's just happy birthday, Percy, I guess. Good morning, Kingslayer Damocles. Britney Spears covered that. So, yeah, Britney Spears did a cover of it too, but it just wasn't Joan Jett. And it's funny because there's a YouTuber or whatever. She's funny as hell, but she will take, songs from the day, and she'll be acting like a Gen Z or Generation A person, like they're hearing the song for the first time. And then she'll have another clip of her being someone from like a millennial doing the same song, but whoever wrote it did that time. And then she'll have like a Gen X or a boomer doing the same song as that time and dressed up as that. And it's hilarious because, when you're a kid and you're hearing a song for the first time, sometimes you have no idea that this song was already famous. I remember when Grand Funk Railroad did a remake of The Locomotion. I've said this before. I didn't know that was I never heard the Little Eva version of it, the original version, Little Eva and whatever that group was called. I just thought that was the song, right? And then I find out later that it's Little Eva did it. And then, in the 90s, Kylie Minogue did a kind of a more disco-y version of it. And I'm sure whoever the kids were that heard that song then were like, I had no idea that it'd already been done twice. And I make fun of that song because I always say, gee, it's a remake of a bad song. Although I shouldn't say they were bad reviews. I thought as a kid, the Grand Funk Railroad song was great. I thought I'm sure kids and I actually enjoyed when I reheard Kylie Minogue's version. I like that too. So, but it's funny. So many of these songs that you hear are either remakes or they have a hook from a remake, whatever. Because like a lot of the rap songs with the sample stuff, they, obviously it's more prominent in hip hop where they sample another song and you hear it in there. But it's always fascinating. So anyway, I don't know why I started talking about that again. All right, let's move on to other news. Apparently there was some of this is breaking, some of it's from yesterday, but I just wanted to catch up on some of it. Apparently Jim Jordan has issued a second subpoena to an FBI agent who fled the country after the interview fell through. Now this is fascinating. This is fascinating. Did I say good morning, Lord Stanhope? I don't know if I did. Republican Ohio Representative Jim Jordan, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, is sending another subpoena to FBI agent Elvis Chan after he left the country when his scheduled interview September 15th fell through, according to a letter obtained by the Daily Caller. The House Judiciary Committee is demanding Chan appear before a deposition October 5th, 2023 to discuss his role on the FBI's Foreign Intelligence Influence Task Force ahead of the 2020 presidential election. House Judiciary subpoenaed Chan on September 15th to give an interview Thursday after a dispute between committee investigators and the DOJ derailed the scheduled interview. So this guy fled. Let's see, based on the representations of the date of your deposition conflicts with the dates of your official travel. As an accommodation, the committee is issuing you a new deposition subpoena that compels your appearance on October 5th, 2023. So anyway, it's another deposition, and I don't know what this one's about. But they're saying that the internal Facebook documents reveal that FBI Special Agent Elvis Chan made false statements and testimonies about the FBI's role in suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story. So that's what it's about. He apparently has been lying about that in sworn testimony. So the Justice Department surely will go after him and arrest him and have him on contempt of Congress or false statements, right? Oh, who are we kidding? They don't care because he's on their side. Anyway, so that's in the news. Also the news, Robert Menendez, Senator Robert Menendez. Now, this dude, and as a Democrat, is a dirty piece of shit. Okay. And he's been indicted also again. This time, let's see, what's this one? Bob Menendez, here's the photos from the Bob Menendez indictment are wild. Bribed through gold bars, jacket stuffed with cash, luxury vehicles. Allegations that Menendez was essentially acting as a foreign agent of Egypt while serving as a U.S. senator. So you can check out the Twitter thread, but here's a couple other things on it. Here's the indictment itself, and let's see from the beginning. Here it is. Robert Menendez, the defendant, is the senior U.S. senator from the state of New Jersey. From at least now, remember he weren't his charges in 2018 thrown out or something like that? I can't remember what the deal was. Looking forward to the left-wing explanation for why Bob Menendez should be in jail while Hunter Biden continues to sell paintings to anonymous foreigners. Yeah, I know. They're for whatever reason, I don't know why they allow Senator Menendez to be thrown under the bus when other people are not. But anyway, from the here it is. Let's see. Senator Menendez between 2018 and 2022. Now this is after the first time he was arrested for corruption. Nomad, what's up? Nice to see ya. It's been a while.
Stop. Hammer time.
Also, Reaction Puerto Rico. Okay. So the defendant. Let's see. They're saying Menendez agreed to and did accept hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes in exchange for using Menendez's power and influence as a senator to seek and protect and Rich, Hannah, Uribe, and Dabes. I don't know what these other defendants may be. Oh, I see. New Jersey businessmen. His power and influence as a senator seek to protect them to benefit the Arab Republic of Egypt. Those bribes included cash, gold payments toward home mortgage, compensation for low or no-show job, a luxury vehicle, and other things of value. Now that, boy, that sounds really familiar, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound familiar? Like, let's just, that sounds like, it sounds like something that happened with a certain former vice president's kid and his family. Anyway, but the funny thing is they show pictures of some of the stuff. So there's pictures of the jacket that were full of money, right? They show pictures of some of the gold bar. They have physical evidence, and but it'll be interesting to see if he complied. Like you said, Avocasto made a good point. Pro tip: it's only a bribe if you do what they ask you. Well, why are they giving him cash and gold and shit? Anyway, so he's been indicted again. That's new. Also in the news, Clarence Thomas, another hit piece from ProPublica on Clarence Thomas, which they just can't stop. They're really trying to get Clarence Thomas out of there. Federalist Society. This person says, the Federalist Society pimped out Clarence Thomas as a fundraising draw at vacation retreats for billionaires hosted by the Koch network to solicit large donors with cases in front of the Supreme Court. If this sounds really bad, it's because it is. Impeach Clarence Thomas because they want, and that's what, according to ProPublica, who's been on it, they've been on a tear for Clarence Thomas. One of the problems, so here's the deal. One of Thomas's best friends and college friends, whatever, is a really rich guy, and he goes on vacations and whatnot for him, and they're claiming that he's selling out to these, rich entities, not just, because they're his friends or whatever. Now this is a fake. American Marsh is a fake account, but the no black person will be able to succeed on a merit-based system. So today's Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on black people. That's stupid. But they're claiming pay to play. So there's obviously every time ProPublica has something against conservative, it's going to blow up. And who knows? I haven't read it. It may have merit. It may not. But this man's been one of his friends. Now another person who's trending because of this though is the guy in the middle of this picture. If you don't recognize him, well that is none other than, wait, we're here. Oh, how'd that get over there? This is out of order. What happened to Ken Burns? That person right there is Ken Burns. If you're not familiar with Ken Burns, the documentary maker. And so people are up in arms that, oh my God, Ken Burns is in a picture with Clarence Thomas. And here it is. Ken Burns is trending because the left is having a meltdown about a photo that appears with the latest ProPublica Thomas hit piece. Burns, whose documentary about Vietnam receiving funding from the Koch Foundation, had the audacity to have his photo taken with David Koch and Clarence Thomas. So this person, what's Ken Burns doing in this picture with David Koch and Thomas? So they are starting to take a dump on Mr. Ken Burns. Go figure. Because, God forbid, one of their documentary making heroes does something with Clarence Thomas. All right. Other news. And then we'll get into the main topics. So I also have the Washington Post article on Menendez bribery charges. It's a fairly extensive article, and the actual indictment is in the chat, will be in links. By the way, as you know, every day, all the links and, video and whatever I do on the show, I put them in a single link in the description. I'll drop it in the chat during the outro. I'll drop it on the Discord server. You'll be able to find all of these articles if you want to go back and have more details or finish the article. So especially if you want to read about the Menendez indictment, there's the Washington Post article. The actual indictment is in the links. It'll all be there. So there you go. Other news, apparently Hunter Biden will not be receiving special treatment on his indictment. Remember how they've required Donald Trump to show up at all these, a couple of these indictments, particularly the one in Georgia. Well, apparently, and the Biden camp, his lawyers were hoping that he would not have to appear and have a mugshot and all that taken. Well, No go. No special treatment for Hunter Biden. He's ordered to appear in person for gun felonies arraignment. The only reason this is happening, by the way, the only reason this is happening is because people were up in arms and made a big stink about the fact, are they going to give him special treatment, not make him appear? Hunter Biden has been ordered by a U.S. magistrate judge, Christopher Burke, to appear in person at his October 3rd arraignment for three felony charges. I thought there was just the single gun charge. The court order issued on Wednesday states that Joe Biden's eldest son should not receive special treatment. His lawyers have requested a video appearance, citing the financial impact on government resources and the logistical burden of traveling to Delaware. Oh, that is so sad. That is so sad that he would have such a burden traveling. Doesn't he? Didn't he make millions of dollars off of foreign governments? I think he has a few bucks in the bank. Maybe not. Maybe he's already sniffed it all away. Anyway, the request for virtual appearance was opposed by special counsel David Weiss, who argued an in-person hearing is important to maintain public confidence. Yeah, so they're saying he's not getting special treatment. Weiss said the court has mostly held in-person appearances to treat defendants consistently since the expiration of an order authorizing video teleconferencing due to COVID in June 2022. Regardless of his mode of appearance, Hunter tends to waive the reading of the indictment and plead not guilty to all charges. Well, that's isn't that special? So there you go. That's some other breaking news. And let's see, I got one or two more things. The Russell Brand saga is very interesting. There's the Clarence Thomas. I'll move that over so they're in the same order as they were. Maybe not. Why is that not moving? Well, we'll see in a second. Let's try this. There we go. Let's move that over. There we go. All right. And there's this is fascinating. So I'm not sure if you're familiar, the Russell Brand thing. So all of a sudden he's being accused of sexual misconduct, right? He's being accused of sexual misconduct from over a decade ago. And apparently everyone in big tech is just automatically starting to cancel him. Now remember, Russell Brand is kind of he's become an anti-establishment figure, even though his politics are clearly far on the left. We're talking like Bernie Sanders left, except he believes in free speech. He believes that the powers that be in our government or whatever are doing terrible things. They're profiteering through the use of emergency declarations and whatnot, and he doesn't like that. And he's kind of has a populist, a bit of a populist feel to his politics, even though he's on the left. And so a lot of people on the right do respect him, even though they disagree with him on certain policies. Well, he's been on a tear against government corruption and government and corporations colluding, right? So now all of a sudden, here comes these decades-old accusations, and big tech is just going along with it and kind of canceling him. They've taken away his YouTube monetization. The UK has asked for Rumble to cancel him, and so Rumble is fighting back. Rumble emphatically rejects Gestapo-style tactics by UK Parliament to cancel Russell Brand. Before anything else, let's be clear. The only people that really know what happened years ago in this case is Russell Brand, the accusers, and God. The establishment media doesn't know for sure, and doubters of the story don't know for sure. All that said, you don't see social media and video platforms canceling or demonetizing President Biden or former President Bill Clinton because of the sexual assault allegations against them. Hell, Bill Clinton's have been proven. He paid off some people himself. So why is this happening? Either because the accuser's allegations against Brand are true, or because Brand has become a lightning rod through his podcast in the form of pushing against the establishment. And while YouTube and the BBC and other outlets and platforms cowardly presume guilt before innocence, there's only one platform that's telling the establishment to go F itself, and that would be Rumble. On Wednesday, the video platform and direct competitor YouTube revealed on Twitter and X, Twitter/X, the app formerly known as Twitter. Hello, Brent Hayes. In a letter sent to them by a member of the UK Parliament, essentially demanding that Rumble demonetize and or deplatform brand from its site. The chair of the Culture, Media and Sports Committee, Dame Karine, I don't know how you say her name, sent a letter used veiled mafia tactics of passive aggressiveness, wanting Rumble to suspend Mr. Brand's ability to earn money on the platform. They want to kill the man, basically. They want to take away his... It's funny. They go after your money. It's amazing. Again, have they demonetized? Has Bill Clinton been rejected completely? I mean, we know that he's done some shit. Joe Biden's been accused of some shit. They're not asking for that. Of course, Joe Biden's the president. It's kind of hard to do. But anyway... quote, "We would also like to know what Rumble is doing to ensure that creators are not able to use the platform to undermine the welfare of victims of inappropriate and potentially illegal behavior," the letter concluded. Oh, really? You have proof of that? Wait a minute. Yeah. So you've already convicted him. They've already convicted him. Yet, just an accusation from over 10 years ago that's never been heard before. But, except... Rumble isn't a British company that cowers to powdered wig authoritarians masquerading as protectors of the people and understands that the accused get the presumption of innocence before guilt. Yes, innocent until proven guilty. Proven guilty. In response, Rumble tweeted out his response to Parliament, essentially telling them to kick rocks. And I'm going to go through I'm not going to read the whole letter. We'll just give you the summary that's here. We regard it as deeply inappropriate and dangerous that the UK Parliament would attempt to control who is allowed to speak on our platform and to earn a living from doing so. Singling out an individual and demanding his ban is even more disturbing given the absence of any connection between the allegations and his content on Rumble. We don't agree with the behavior of many Rumble creators, but we refuse to penalize them for actions that have nothing to do with our platform. Although it may be politically and socially easier for Rumble to join the cancel culture mob, doing so would be a violation of our company's value and mission. We emphatically reject the UK Parliament demands, and they deserve that round of applause. So anyway, they basically said, fuck off. So good for them. Now, and on that note, there's an article in the Washington Post. I believe is it an opinion piece? Yes, it is an opinion piece from Caroline Markowitz. Russell Brand, big tech plays judge during execution before a trial again. Are accusations enough to destroy someone's life and remove his ability to make money? It certainly seems to be the case with actor and podcaster Russell Brand, and a feverish push to make sure he's demonetized on every platform. Brand has been accused of serious sexual offenses. He might be a terrible person. We really don't know. He has not been charged with anything, and an accusation does not make it acceptable to take away his job. That's just it. He's not charged with anything either. And they're demanding that you cancel him. What the F? Good morning, Jen. What's up? Good morning, Those Ain't Real Dude. So anyway, by the way, share the stream. If you just got here, share the stream. The more people who share the stream, the more this gets put out on YouTube. And I want that to happen, and I'd like you to help me make that happen if you haven't done it already. She continues, I get it. We live in a bifurcated world. We take sides, we make snap decisions, we read a headline and form an opinion. Or maybe we don't need to read anything. I never liked that guy anyway. I love him. I hate him. He's innocent. He's guilty. We get caught up in a frenzy. The Me Too era was a hallmark of that hysteria. It started with serious allegations of sexual misconduct and ended with actors accusing of offering the wrong wine to a date, and a comedian, Norm Macdonald, disinvited from late night television for talking about forgiveness for the canceled. It seems we've learned very little from that time. So it goes on in that vein, but it's a great article. Leave it in the chat or in the links, and I hope you enjoy it. Please go back and read that one. Annalyn, what's up? There can be no dissent. That is true. That is true. So let's get into some a little more main topics. What is this one? Oh, that's because he's getting canceled. These are all out of order. What happened here? Move Ken Burns over by Clarence Thomas. There we go. And who's this? Oh, before I get to the main topic, there's also some updates on the United Auto Workers strike. Apparently, wait, Katy Perry, the crazy lady who sexualizes at least one contestant on every season of American Idol, she even been a guest judge on, yeah, I totally should ask her opinion. Wait, I missed the Katy Perry thing. What? That wasn't Katy Perry. Who was this? This was Carol Markowitz. Maybe I missed something. Okay. United Auto Workers, GM and Stellantis. What is Stellantis? Is that the new name of the Chrysler Corporation? Basically, I'm not sure. Because they say GM, Ford, and Stellantis. It must be the new Chrysler, right? So anyway, they are expanding their strike, but says that they're making progress with Ford. Here's the article from This is CNN. So the auto worker strike, the UAW president invites. Yeah, this is interesting because the Biden administration has said that they have no intention of sending anyone to the picket lines with the United Auto Workers strike, whatever. And so the UAW president has invited Biden to the picket lines. The UAW president, Sean Fain, has been critical at times of President Joe Biden, a pro-union president who has repeatedly voiced support for the union and its efforts. Typically, the UAW offers nearly unconditional and unwavering support to Democratic politicians. Fain has changed his tune on Biden a bit lately, thanking him for his support. Still, Fain would like Biden to join the picket lines as the union vastly expands the strike. Quote, we invite and encourage everyone who supports our cause to join us on the picket line, from our friends and families all the way up to the President of the United States. Fain said Friday at a press conference, we invite you to join us in our fight. The way you can help is to build our movement, or help build our movement, and show the companies that the public stands with us. Well, I don't know if I stand with them. They're asking for some crazy numbers, just some crazy numbers. And, when they complain that, the CEO has paid that's gone up, whatever, maybe that's because the profits, whatever, but that's one person. If you divided the increase in the CEO pay, it's probably less than $1 per worker, or because it comes out, or maybe let's say it comes out to $10 per worker per year. Okay, that's a lot different than having your entire workforce's pay raised by 45%, and then what happens that's an operating cost. I understand that you're arguing against a company that makes profit, and you can negotiate that and whether or not the company makes as much profit as it does. But you're talking about raising the operating cost, which makes the cost of the vehicles go up, not necessarily by 45%, because that's not your entire operating cost. But that's you're playing a balance, and I don't mind that they play this game, the negotiation, whatever. But just remember, that's, the consumer takes it in the hind parts when that happens, and, you make it harder for everybody else. Now, a lot of it, too, is Biden has been so hyped on this EV, electric vehicle train, and the United Auto Workers are not thrilled about that because, they see the light about the electric vehicles, but also just the fact that that does not help them necessarily. So anyway, some Democratic politicians are urging Biden to do more. California Representative Ro Khanna on Monday told CNN Vanessa Yurkovich that Biden and other Democrats should join the pickets. Why? Is this because the United Auto Workers and union workers are usually in your pocket and they're not now? So anyway, they're expanding their pickets to other not suppliers, but there's multiple unions in these auto workers unions, or around these auto companies. Some are like for example, I'll give you an example at UPS. The UPS, there's a separate union for drivers, there's a separate union for part-time employees. There's a separate union for the full-time in-house employees. They have 3 different unions at UPS. It's the same thing with every, the auto companies. There's a union for the actual auto workers. There are unions for the drivers. There's a union for the, like the parts area. They're not all, for whatever reason, they're all kind of the overall union is for the industry, but they'll have different unions for different sections. And so they're expanding it to include other workers in the auto industry, which is, that's what they say, expand the expanding the strike. Now, one thing though that Democrats are panicking about, and here's the article from the AP, by the way. United Auto Workers expanded its strike against major automakers Friday, walking out of 38 General Motors and Stellantis parts distribution centers in 20 states. So they have their parts distribution business. Another 5,600 additional workers joined the strike on top of the 13,000 of the 146,000 members that began the strike a week ago. So that's the expansion of the strike. Now, one of the reasons people like Ro Khanna, though, are panicking a little bit about Biden not joining the strike is because, or not visiting the striking workers, is because guess who's going to visit them? The guy with the funny hair. Democrats panic as Trump plans to visit the striking auto workers. Because remember, under Trump, they were doing pretty good. We were getting America, a lot of, whatever you think about Trump's policies on tariffs and all this other stuff, everyone was doing pretty good when Trump was here. And plus, one of the reasons that the workers are concerned about their pay is because of the incredible inflation under Joe Biden. So here's Donald Trump planning to visit the workers. Democrats are reportedly panicking over plans by former President Donald Trump on the front runner of the GOP presidential primary to visit auto workers striking against General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis in Detroit, Michigan. Members of the United Auto Workers are currently on strike against the Big Three, pushing to secure a new labor contract that includes wage increases that keep up with inflation and commitments to that their jobs will not be eliminated by Biden's electric vehicle agenda. That is scary for the United Auto Workers who are making internal combustion engine vehicles. And now, granted, the auto workers are also making some of the electric vehicles, but the bigger players in that industry are not UAW workers. So interesting. Now, this week, sources confirmed to Breitbart News that Trump will skip the second GOP primary debate, instead visiting striking auto workers in Detroit. Trump's planned visit, according to Politico, has Democrats and President Joe Biden's White House rattled, of course, because Trump's popular with working people. And no one can figure it out. Jay, not nothing in common with them, right? But you don't have to have anything in common with Donald Trump to understand why he has an appeal, because things were working for those first 3 years of office, and then they brought in the COVID. Well, I shouldn't say they brought it in, but you know what I'm saying. If you might have an opinion on that or two, and I'm going to let you have your own opinion on that. Anyway, Trump's planned visit, according to Politico, has Democrats and President Joe Biden rattled, with one union advisor calling it the move kind of genius. It is. He's a jackass, but he knows how to sell himself and sell what needs to be done. And he's a damn good president. So this is smart. He knows how to play the room. Quote, we should not underestimate Trump. He's a survivor, and this is going to be a very hard-fought campaign, Representative Ro Khanna told Politico. There's that name again. We need to send a message to working-class Americans, Khanna said. Right now, they're still hurting in terms of gas prices, food prices, housing costs, utility costs, and they don't feel like their wages are going up fast enough, and they feel like the very wealthy are getting too much of the rewards. That's what I heard on the picket lines. Notice all of those things he mentioned: gas prices, food prices, housing costs, utility costs. That's a result of the current administration policies. So maybe if Biden shows up, they might boo his ass, even though he supposedly supports unions. What up, Trip? Good morning, Trippy Liberty, my friend. So anyway, Likewise, the Democratic strategist told Politico that Trump scooped us with the visit to striking auto workers, referenced the fact that Biden has yet to make a stop. Biden sought to send 2 administrative officials to negotiate a contract between the big 3 auto workers, but the trip was canceled after pushback from the UAW. They didn't want him there. They said, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, yada here. So by visiting strike workers, Trump is looking to rebuild his 2016 victory coalition that included gaining historic support from union households and the white working class. Really? The white working class? Was it just the white working class? Good morning, Phantom Dogfart, by the way. Was it just the white working class? Come on, man. You serious?
Come on, man.
It was just the white working class? I don't think so. Anyway, in 2019, when UAW workers members led a strike against GM for a fair contract, only 25% of Republicans said they backed the union against the automaker. Today, 35% of Republicans said they support the UAW against the big 3, a 10-point swing in favor of union workers. Well, I support them, but I wish they would do something about where the big problem is. The bigger problem probably comes from the fact that the Inflation Reduction Act was designed to kill a lot of their jobs. Right? Anyone disagree with that? The Inflation Reduction Act was not about inflation. It was about killing their jobs as they see it. Now, certainly a lot of those workers can adapt and be in other industries. The green energy industry, right? Yeah, they don't see it that way. They see their jobs that they have now, and it's killing them. At 4 years, 1 year, it'll cost Ford. Wait, where are those? Oh my God, $456 million. Interesting. That's very interesting. All right, now let's get into the main topic today, and that would be our friend Latrine Jean-Pierre. Now, granted, the Menendez was trending number 1 this morning because that was actually breaking news this morning. But also Latrine Jean-Pierre. I know it's Karine, but anyway, that's a. By the way, I stole that designation. Yes, Ranting Monkey came up with the nom de plume, Latrine Jean-Pierre, and she's trending today on Twitter because she has. I don't know. I haven't decided if Latrine Jean-Pierre has the toughest job in the world or the easiest job in the world. Because really, it's easy if you just don't ask questions or answer the questions. You just make up some shit and move along, and then you don't have to answer questions. Because if you had to give real answers, you'd be looking like an idiot, I think. So she asked, a lot of people in these press conferences asked her a lot of questions, but she had one in particular that. Well, let's go back to something that she said in the past. We're going to go to this first because here's something that she said. It was a little while ago, a couple weeks ago, right? Not even a couple of weeks ago. It was at the end of August. Look, Karine Jean-Pierre responds to AOC. Quote, Biden has done more than anybody to secure the border. It says, obviously. Oh, but here's one of the problems. So yesterday, or a couple of days ago, there was a record day. The Biden administration set another record. Fan-fucking-tastic. But here was the record was there were more than 10,000 illegal border crossings in one day. In one day. It's a new record since they've been starting to count these border crossings. 10,000 in one day. Okay. Now, about a few weeks ago, Latrine Jean-Pierre told somebody that nobody has done more than Biden. Nobody's done more than Biden to secure the border. Really? Really? Because, see, Jean-Pierre was reacting to AOC calling immigration Biden's weakest issue. So this is from August 31st. Hello, my favorite Canadian. Hello, my favorite Canadian. Jaeger Ponies in the house. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said on August 30th that President Joe Biden has done more to secure the southern border and deal with the immigration crisis than anybody else. Now, I've got to remind you, too, one of the things he did was a brilliant move. He did assign the, pseudo position of border czar to Kamala Harris. And that was, that was one of his greatest moves ever, because she's been unbelievable on border security, and man, she's done a complete pile of shit job. But anyway, this continues. Her comments come after fellow Democrat Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez told the New York Times that immigration is the Biden administration's weakest issue. The president has, and she's like, well, the president has done more to secure the border and deal with the issue of immigration than anybody else. He really has. Look, the president has done what he can from here and from the federal government, from the White House, to put forth and manage our border in a safe and humane way to respect the dignity of every human, as he says all the time, and making sure that our communities are safe. Well, gosh, darn it! If you say so, that is certainly correct. Whoa, wait, sorry. That's again. Her job is just to make shit up, and sometimes that can be fun and entertaining, but holy shit. Anyway, the press secretary went on to say the system is broken and that Republicans refuse to work with the White House in a bipartisan way. Oh, she's gonna lay that at she's gonna lay that at the feet of Republicans? Well, of course that's all she does. And so yesterday, Steve Doocy had a question for her, and she tried to take that line of thought again. And here's what happened. Here's what happened with Steve Doocy yesterday when Steve Doocy tried to ask a question about this. All right, here it is. There we go. Listen to this.
How many people come?
Oops, hang on. Let me.
Enough for President Biden.
I'll start that over since I didn't
say that last one.
How many people?
I didn't here. Oh no, this isn't even Steve Doocy. This is a different question. But listen to this.
How many people coming into this country illegally is enough for President Biden then?
Say that last one.
How many people illegally coming into the United States is enough for President Biden's administration?
Enough for what?
5.9 million people have been encountered illegally.
I know the numbers, but enough for what?
Enough just to stop the flow.
As I mentioned, this is a problem that's been around for some time now, for decades.
Now notice, okay, he's asking, how many is enough? Because for him to actually do something, that isn't even a Fox News reporter. That's somebody else asking the question, right? That's somebody else asking, how many is enough before he actually does something? And that's friendly fire right there. And she's like, well, what do you mean? I mean, I don't know. He didn't do, it's just everything. That's basically your answer, okay? Now, and she's like, oh, this has been a problem for a long time. Really? Has it been like this? 10,000 in one day? That was 5.9 million. 10,000 in one day? That has been a problem that's been going on for a long time? Really? It's funny because the guy with the funny hair seemed to be reducing those numbers. I mean, the average during his administration was, what, 2,200, 2,300? The average now is 8,500 a day. I mean, it went up quite a bit since. So anyway, then the big news also, she's talking to Steve Doocy. Steve Doocy asks a question. Here's Steve Doocy asking kind of a question about that. Oh, here, I got it here. Let me go here. Let me put it out on the screen here. There we go. All right. So Steve Doocy's asking the same question. And watch this. Because he's going to tell her, because all she does, right? When people ask her questions about immigration, it's been going on for a long time, meaning it's not their fault. Or she'll deflect to Republicans. So here she is trying to do that with Steve Doocy, who's not having it and wants her to answer the question she asked.
What do you call it here at the White House when 10,000 people illegally cross the border in a single day?
So what do you call it, Peter, when GOP puts forth...
Okay, right. He asks the question, and she immediately goes to GOP. The GOP is not in charge of immigration. The executive branch is. The border czar is. The border czar, remember her? The cackler? She, you know how they have the Batman villains? They have the Riddler. They have the Joker. They have the Penguin. And now we have the Cackler. That'd be the Vice President of the United States. So the Cackler, the border czar, has she been to the border yet? How long ago was she appointed? Okay, did she supervise the 10,000 that came across the border in a single day? I doubt it. But anyway, so let me go this back a little bit so you hear this answer that she gives.
White House when 10,000 people illegally crossed the border in a single day.
So what do you call it, Peter, when GOP puts forth a wait, no, you can't.
Karine?
I'm answering. Okay, we're gonna move
You're
on.
answering
No,
the question with a question? Okay.
no, we're moving on.
Karine,
Moving.
please.
In the back.
Now, you said you were stopping the flow at the border.
No.
10,000
I tried to
migrants-
answer, Peter.
Okay.
I tried to answer the question. You stopped me. Let's go.
She says that's not a question she wants to answer. And so other reporters started asking her questions about it, and she didn't like it, okay? And she didn't like it at all. So, and there's an article, Legal Insurrection. It probably just says the same thing. It just shows the same exchange. But so she doesn't want to answer these questions. And so now she's getting blasted for blaming everything on Republicans. It's like, wait a minute. When Republicans are in charge and the guy with the funny hair was in charge, it wasn't like this. It's so much worse now under your administration. Karine Jean-Pierre gets blasted for blaming border crisis on Republicans while claiming Biden is doing everything he can. Is he now? Is he though? White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre insisted on Thursday that President Biden is doing everything he can to combat the surge of migrants at the southern border, and she accused Republicans of not doing enough. What does she want them to do? What does she want Republicans to do? Quote, we have taken steps without the help of Republicans in Congress to do everything that we can to deal with this issue. Really? Name the steps. And let's not forget that Republicans proposed their continued resolution led to 800 Customs and Border agents and officers being fired. Did it? What were you doing before they did that? What are you talking about? Jean-Pierre then criticized the GOP's decision to block a procedural vote on the defense spending bill. It has nothing to do with the border crisis. That is what they proposed just a day ago, and that's what they would do at the border. It would hurt and harm and not deal with the issue. Well, wait a minute. What is the White House doing to deal with the issue? They're doing nothing. So they're doing the opposite of what the president is trying to do. Again, give us examples what the president is trying to do, where she says, which is actually move forward in a way that is humane, safe, and an orderly enforcement pathway process from here. No, you're not enforcing anything. Holy shit, she just word salad of bullshit. However, House Republicans supporting the stopgap continuing resolution to keep the government open through October 31st said they would actually ramp up border security. That would be a good idea. And they're not that much better on it. Trust me. They're a little better. They're better than what's going on in the administration. Including funding continuous construction of a border wall and authorizing and hiring 22,000 more Border Patrol agents. So, and look, it's funny because I don't know if you remember this, how Biden administration quietly, after they completely stopped everything on the wall, they quietly began continuing construction on certain parts of that border wall that they say is, it's inhumane, it's this and that, yada, yada, yada. They quietly finished a couple sections. Did you hear about that? That was a while back. Anyway, so then Peter Doocy asked a question and she refused to answer because she didn't like the fact that he wouldn't let her deflect to Republicans on every bad thing that happens in the world. It's not the Republicans whose administration has basically invited them to come across the border. It's just, it's just complete bullshit. Now, let's see. And in fact, here she is saying this president has taken historic action. When she uses the word historic action, when she says that this president has taken historic action, you realize bad actions can also be historic, right?
This is a president that has taken historic action. on an issue, on a system that has been broken for some time.
Yeah, historic action gets historic results in 10,000 illegals crossing the border in one day. This historic action gets historic results, as in 5.9 million people have crossed the border illegally since this administration has come into power. That is historic. Now, historic action could suck too, right? It doesn't mean that everything's good. Now, in regards, though, to her job being very, very challenging, here's another little challenge she had in the same press conference. So, apparently Biden told the same story twice in a speech, word for word, just minutes apart. And so more question. Look, they keep saying it's concerns about age and fitness for the office. It's not about age. Look, again, I'll say this. I don't think there should be limits on age in public office. I think whoever your constituents want to vote for, they should be able to vote for them. And if they want to vote in a 90-year-old drooling, wheelchair-bound person who has no, advanced stages of Alzheimer, that's their prerogative. Now, I don't want them to do that, but it can happen. But there are also people in their mid-80s that are, as nimble as a cat as far as brain function. This president is not one of them. So anyway, Biden repeats the same story, word for word, minutes apart, raising fresh concerns about age and fitness of office. Yes, for his age and his personal issues, yes, should be concerns, because it's the advanced stages of whatever this dementia that he's starting to show. Makes you wonder why he's running again and why his wife and his family are allowing this to continue. But President Biden showed his age at a campaign reception in Manhattan Wednesday, repeating statements about the 2017 Charlottesville riot and a decision to run for president in 2020, minutes apart, nearly word for word. Now wait to hear how she explains this. This is hilarious. So here's do they have the clip? I don't know if they put the clip together or not. Anyway, I'm not going to play a clip because it's the same story twice. During remarks at the gathering hosted by billionaire real estate heiress Amy Golden Fowler. Oh my God, he's rubbing elbows with billionaires. I thought billionaires were the worst people in the world. The 80-year-old president recounted how he was enjoying retirement after 2 terms as Barack Obama's vice president when along came in August 2017 in Charlottesville, Virginia. You remember those folks walking out of the fields literally carrying torches with Nazi swastikas. Okay, he's just making shit up. This is gaslight. That wasn't what they did. This had nothing to do. The torches were the day before, not coming out of fields. They were marching down the street. Now, they were dickheads. I'm not saying that they're great, people. The riot day was completely different because it wasn't the people, some of those people were just honoring relatives who were part of that statue and as part of that commemoration spot that had nothing to do with the idiots from the night before. But he makes up a story. He's made up the story and told it many times. Carrying torches with Nazi swastikas, holding them forward, singing the same vicious anti-Semitic bile, the same exact bile, the bile that was sung in Germany in the 1930s. And a young woman was killed. A woman was killed. Idiot. Those were not the same day, but he's made up a story that they were coming out of the bushes attacking people. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Anyway, Biden went on to say, according to an official White House transcript, that the former guy, President Donald Trump, was asked, what do you think would happen? He was the sitting president, and he said, I thought there were some very fine people on both sides. Yes, he did. And I mean this sincerely from the bottom of my heart. That's when I decided I was going to run again. That's because people lied to you about what he said. He specifically said that the neo-Nazis and white nationalists were not part of that group and they should be condemned. He specifically said that. It was one of the most BS stories in the news at the time. Now, after the president recounted how his extended family urged him to challenge Trump, he then began to tell the story over again. It was verbatim. He said the same exact words, except he used a different group. You may remember that, these folks from Charlottesville, as they came out of the fields carrying those swastikas, and remember the torches and the accompanied the Ku Klux Klan. In addition to that, they were white supremacists. Anyway, they were making a big case about how terrible this was. A young woman was killed. So basically told the exact same story twice. And my predecessor said what he thought. He said there were some very fine people on both sides. And so he tells the same story twice about a minute apart. And so now here's how Karine Latrine tried to explain that away. Karine Jean-Pierre said he told the same story twice because he wanted to emphasize the point he was making in the story. Let's talk about some spin right there. That is some world-class press secretary spin right there. No, he told the same story twice because he's a mumbling, fumbling idiot. So I have a couple more clips of Latrine here that are just kind of random related to what we've already watched. Here's one in which she says, well, this is the same press conference, I think yesterday. Where's she at? Let's get that open here. He forgot he told it. Stop lying. Yeah, he literally, he realized he was telling the same damn story. Or he didn't realize he was telling the same damn story twice. So here's some more of her spin on something. I think this is on the auto workers.
Will the White House send an administration official to the picket lines with those striking?
Oh, this is about whether or not they're going to send anybody to the picket lines.
UAW workers, or would President Biden himself go?
So don't have anything to lay out on any as regards to the president's schedule. What I can say is the president is very, I guess, seeing them continue to be at the negotiating table. All parties continue to be at the negotiating table is a positive. That is important. They've been certainly doing that for the past 24/7. It is important to have that collective bargaining. The president has been very clear about that.
She loves to say, we've been very clear about that. The president's been very clear about that. We've been very clear about this. We've been very clear about that. She loves to be clear about things because she's clearly being clear about that.
And so we are going to assist the White House, along with the Department of Labor, with the leadership of Acting Secretary Sue, to make sure that we provide assistance or any guidance as it is requested to all parties.
Okay, so the answer was no. No, we're not sending the president or anyone from the administration. That was a yes or no question. But we're doing everything we can. And then also, this one, what's this clip? This is
can't even get an agreement among themselves.
This is blaming everything on Republicans.
Today, extreme House Republicans showed yet again that their chaos is marching us toward a reckless and damaging government shutdown.
Shut it down. Hell, I don't care. The longer the government shuts down, whenever the government shuts down, okay, these so-called shutdowns, it doesn't stop the essential functions of government. So everything that's already funded, in fact, even if they're not funded, say Social Security checks and shit like that going on, that all goes out automatically. It doesn't have anything to do with whether the government's running or not. They don't stop that. Although, unless, of course, you have a president in office who will just in order to make a point, will shut some things down just to piss people off. Like, for example, when there was a government shutdown during the Obama administration, he not just the places like the national parks that are open even when they're not open, they blocked them off and wouldn't let people go in them. So again, the more the government is closed, the less they are spending our money. And that's a positive, especially if it's the Congress. I swear, I wish they would only be in session they could have 2-3 month sessions a year. They could have one from which basically they kind of do, because they get so much time off. But look, let's take it again. I wish they'd take 6 months of making laws and then they'd 6 months repealing laws. That should be their job. Their job should be repealing stupid laws continually. Anyway, let's finish this.
Can't even get an agreement among themselves to keep the government running or to fund the military.
Okay. Because you fund the military, you're not funding our military, you're funding Ukraine. I'm just saying.
Demanding more extreme policies as a condition to do their job and keep the government open.
That is their job. That is their job. Their job is to do what their constituents want. So if they're doing something that you don't like, it's probably because their constituents agree with them. It's not that they're not doing their job. It means they are doing their job. Now, if their constituents don't agree with them, then they'll take it out during election day. Okay? But I'm sorry, you everything you all do seems to be like, Keystone Cop bullshit.
A fact-free impeachment that they're
fact-free. Oh, that's interesting. They haven't impeached anybody yet. It's an inquiry, and boy, do they have some really juicy stuff on the former vice president. But that's a whole nother story. All right, let's go.
Their own members say isn't supported by the evidence to severe cuts to food safety, Meals on Wheels.
So all she wants to talk
Head
about
Start,
is Republicans.
Education,
all she
law
wants to talk about is Republicans.
and much more.
She doesn't want to talk about what's actually happening in their own administration. She wants to, pawn everything off on Republicans. Well, you guys are fuck ups too. How about you talk about what you're doing to fix some of the problems that is your job? And are even suggesting to them are you suggesting things to Congress that you think would work? Or are you just going to blame them because they might shut down the government?
And they're failing to deliver needed funding for communities recovering from disasters, to countering fentanyl trafficking, for food assistance, for pregnant mothers and babies.
Oh, she brought in the women and children. Oh, we're not doing enough for the children. Hello, Faithless.
To support Ukraine.
Yeah, and most of your Republican colleagues are also on that Ukraine boat too, so stop lying.
All this while pushing for more trickle-down tax cuts for billionaires and big corporations, which
she's putting out campaign talking points, isn't she? These are all campaign talking points.
Did again yesterday in their budget markup. The solution is very, very simple. Extreme House Republicans need to stop playing political games.
Extreme House
with people's
Republicans.
lives. There's so much at stake here. They should abide by the bipartisan deal we made in May, which two-thirds of House Republicans voted for. A deal is a deal.
Think of the pregnant
House
babies.
Republicans need to do their job, keep the government open, and work with us to deliver for the American people.
And what are you delivering for the American people? What are you delivering for the American people? Biden administration, Miss Jean-Pierre. Anyway. All right, let's move on. So one of the other things that was trending, and I'm not sure why. Wonder Woman was trending today. So that was the main topic. I hope you enjoyed that. And this one was the term Wonder Woman. Now, it's not like Linda Carter's birthday. Apparently there was one of those memes that had Carrie Lake dressed as Wonder Woman, whatever. So I'm scrolling down this trying to figure out why Wonder Woman was trending. I haven't quite figured it out, but it was trending, right? But then as I scrolled down, I came across this little ditty right here. But wait, she's leading on border and abortion. This woman must be Wonder Woman. So much energy, so much leadership. So apparently our border czar, who has been doing a fan-freaking-tastic job, our border czar, has been doing fantastic, right? Where the borders are now, there's Nikki Haley. Borders are Kamala Harris hasn't done a thing to stop this. They think of the chaos that would happen if she becomes president. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote for President Kamala Harris, which is true because Biden, if he makes it through this one, which I still predict he won't, I don't think he'll be running in 2024 in the end. But comparing Kamala Harris to Wonder Woman, well, here's why she's being compared to women. By the way, breaking, one of the largest mass illegal crossings we've ever seen took place in Eagle Pass, Texas this morning, with Border Patrol sources telling us over 2,200 people crossed there since midnight. It was happening right next to the port of entry. Just that one spot, 10,000 on the entire border in one day. Well, the reason that came up is because Kamala Harris is also being tapped by Biden to lead a new federal Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Oh my God. Oh my God. Are you serious? So here's what I think. Oh, let's read the article first, then I'll tell you my thoughts. Biden taps Harris to lead new federal Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Gun safety activists called for the creation of such an office since the beginning of Biden's term. So, of course, anything that they want to do, certainly it's the federal government's job to take care of it, right? So, Vice President Kamala Harris will lead a new federal Office of Gun Violence Prevention, the White House said on Thursday. So she must be wondering, because she's doing a gangbuster job on the border. Now she's gonna help with gun violence prevention. I have predictions. Expect gun violence to increase. Exactly, AD. President Joe Biden will formally announce the new office on Friday during a Rose Garden event where several advocates and lawmakers have been invited to attend. Harris, who has played a leading role. Wait a minute. Listen to this. If anyone can explain this next sentence to me, please try to explain it. Harris, who has played a leading role in gun safety policy, will oversee the office, according to a White House statement. Longtime Biden aide Stephanie Feldman, who has worked on gun policy for more than a decade, will serve as its director. Wait a minute, what? She's played a leading role in gun safety policy? And again, I had the exact same thought as Avocados Diablo. If she does for gun violence, for what she does being the border czar, well, then expect the number of illegal gun-related deaths and murders to increase by threefold under her leadership, because that seems what her leadership seems to do, just the opposite of what it is supposed to do. They're saying that the new Office of Gun Violence Prevention will play a critical role in implementing President Biden's and my efforts. Who's saying that? She said this Vice President and the Vice President Biden and my efforts to reduce violence to the fullest extent under the law. Wait a minute. That's a dumb sentence. Listen to this sentence again and see if you can make sense of this. The new Office of Gun Violence Prevention will play a critical role implementing President Biden and my effort to reduce violence to the fullest extent under the law, while also engaging and encouraging congressional leaders, state and local leaders, and the advocates to come together to build upon that meaningful progress that we have made to save lives. Where? What lives? What have you done? And what do you think you can do? The local problem is because they're not prosecuting offenders that probably go on to do more violent crime. If there's less chance of you being charged or caught or being held accountable for shit you do, then you're just going to do more of it, and that's what's happening. And so crime, maybe crime might be down since the pandemic under their own because one of the things they keep touting is, oh well, crime is down since we come in during our term or the last year. Well, yeah, but you were in office the last 2 years. So if crime came down this year, that means it was higher last year. That's under your administration. It may have been higher the year before. That's under your administration. So big deal if gun violence is down this year from last year. Yeah, that was y'all. Our promise to the American people is this: we will not stop working to end the epidemic of gun violence in every community. Wait a minute. If there's an epidemic of gun violence in every community, that's under your watch. This is the third year of your presidency. The epidemic of gun violence is on your watch. And now you put the border czar in charge of it. It's going to triple. That's the prediction. Greg Jackson, Executive Director of the Community Justice Action Fund, and Rob Wilcox, the Senior Director of Federal Government Affairs at Everytown for Gun Safety, oh God, those weirdos, will report to Feldman as deputy directors of the new office. For years, gun groups have pleaded with Biden to take this action. For years, they've pleaded with Biden to take this action because he's been president 3 years. So yeah, I guess those 3 years. For years, like maybe when he was vice president too, who knows? Which advocates see as a concrete step forward as gun safety legislation remains stalled in Congress. Good, because you're barking up the wrong freaking tree. if you can get local prosecutors to prosecute violent crime, that would be a big step towards reducing it, because then people are like, oh, well, I can't do this shit anymore. You know, I can't carjack somebody at gunpoint anymore, because our ass is going to be in jail. So this is just silliness. Good luck, America. Good luck with the new, what's their title called? The new Federal Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Yes, we're going to prevent gun violence from Washington, D.C. Usually probably penalizing legal gun owners, because that's kind of how things work. All right. Just a couple final things that we're going to do, a couple things, and we'll be out of here. I got some interesting stuff. Just this one, first of all. There's a great column in PJ Media. I'm not going to go through it too heavily, but about how the left's really weird defense of America's first narcissistic junkie's son, and how that can't last forever. One of the great chasms between the bullshit Americans and we the people is our willingness to bend the knee and join the hive mind. We aren't as easy to control as your pink-haired, non-binary something-in-law who dutifully agrees with everything the Punchinellos at MSNBC tell them. But we made no secret that this guy says, I made no secret that I'm a MAGA guy, but I would eagerly jump off the Trump train and perhaps book a passage on the DeSantis choo-choo if there was a Rocky Mountain high pile of evidence suggesting that. Trump accepted millions in bribes from everything, waving... What? Or if they found evidence that Trump had accepted millions in bribes from everyone waving a C note, especially Chinese commies, that he used his druggy Fredo-like son Donald Trump Jr. as a bagman, and Trump weaponized his FBI to persecute his political adversaries. But that pile of evidence doesn't point to Trump and his son. It all points to President Joe Biden and his drug-addled progeny, Hunter. Yet a poll from Real Clear Politics tells us that Trump is barely beating Biden in a 2024 election grudge match. Now, what I find even more unbelievable is how the left has a Jehovah's Witness-like dedication to defending the crack-puffing, amateur adult filmmaking, influence-peddling son of Joe Biden. Merrick Garland beclowned himself this week before Congress, pretending that he has exerted no clout over the supposed investigation of Hunter, his gun woes, his bogus painting business, or his tax dodging. Fewer and fewer people are buying this flapdoodle. Hunter Biden's alleged crimes are big enough to cause spectacular damage to the Democrat brand and possibly even cost them the 2024 election. And God knows how many down ballot seats, but Hunter is a liability as crackheads and the deep state can't trust him. The apparatchiks of the private press are dutifully denying that there is evidence connecting Joe Biden to the tens of $millions his son hoovered, but the truth is getting out. Yeah, we're starting to see the evidence, and the press still kind of avoids it like a skunk on the highway. So anyway, so you can read the rest of that, but it's just weird how Democrats can't quit him. I can't quit him. They can't quit Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, but even though there's so much evidence. All right, in the Data Caller, Biden administration may have made a huge mistake when they were asking the government to take on that government censorship case in Missouri, because they're getting their ass kicked. The Biden administration may have opened itself up to an even more expansive ruling on its coordination with social media companies to censor speech by asking the Supreme Court to freeze a federal appeals court decision. This is, I think they shot himself in the nuts on this one, if you ask me. The administration has asked the Supreme Court last week to pause the Fifth Circuit scaled-back injunction in the free speech lawsuit, Missouri versus Biden, which prevents the administration from coercing and encouraging social media companies to censor speech. They want the Supreme Court to allow them to censor people's speech, or, coerce media companies to censor free speech. They want the Supreme Court to do this. This Supreme Court, the current Supreme Court. I bet at the last minute Biden's going to try to add 5 or 6 seats to the Supreme Court. I wouldn't put it by him. I would not put it past him, I mean. Anyway, they asked the Supreme Court last week to pause the Fifth Amendment Fifth Circuit's scaled-back injunction in the free speech lawsuit Missouri versus Biden, which prevents the administration from coercing or encouraging social media companies to censor free speech. The Fifth Circuit's ruling, while finding that the White House, Surgeon General, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and FBI violated First Amendment, removed the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Agency and other government officials from the district court's injunction and narrowed the language in the injunction itself. Now, assuming the Supreme Court agrees to review the case on its merits after deciding whether to grant a stay, the justices will have a chance to uphold that ruling, restore the broader district court injunction, or do something else. So this is, this is the Biden administration shooting themselves in the nuts. I hope they take it and reinstitute the original ruling. The administration is certainly bold to ask for a stay in the Supreme Court. Eunice found a lead counsel representing the 4 private plaintiffs on the case for New York Civil Liberties Alliance, told the Daily Caller. While ultimately the Fifth Circuit's decision was a victory for us and for the First Amendment, that court's ruling was somewhat more conservative with respect to the legal standard assessing state action as well as the application of those facts to CISA, than the district court's ruling. Aaron Terr, the Foundation for Aaron Terr, Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, also known as FIRE, told the Daily Caller, there's no telling how the Supreme Court will rule if it decides to review the case, but principles at stake aren't new. The Supreme Court has in the past held that government may not coerce private companies into censoring constitutionally protected speech. Why would the Biden administration push this? They're stupid. Anyway, so it goes on a couple of more paragraphs, but you get the idea. And then finally, this is interesting. So this is, if you're not familiar with Hollywood and Toto, Christian Toto is a conservative Hollywood reporter, or somewhat conservative. I mean, he's still from California and whatnot. But anyway, so apparently celebrities who are rallying against these so-called book bans, which are actually just determining what type of material is available in public schools and not banning the books themselves. You can go buy that shit on Amazon or whatever, order it from the publishers. They're not banning the books. They're just saying, hey, maybe this isn't age appropriate in schools. Well, consider the following examples in the arts alone. For Hollywood, Hollywood's been silent on the wave of censorship watching over the culture. They censor shit all the time. For example, The French Connection, an Oscar-winning classic, got snipped to remove an offensive word. Books by Agatha Christie, Roald Dahl, and Ian Fleming got sensitivity reader upgrades. Film and TV shows with problematic content have been erased in the public arena. Comedians fear the loss of their careers for telling the wrong jokes. It's a partial list, but damning all the same, and all that doesn't include big tech censors restricting both comedy and free speech across YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook, and more. So, and then there was a time when the guys who were censoring free speech were the good guys, says Robert Kennedy. Celebrities routinely weigh in on subjects they have little or no expertise on, from border enforcement to gun control. Their livelihoods depend on free expression, yet most are stone silent on the subject. The exceptions, of course, are Bill Maher, Joe Rogan, Rob Schneider, John Cleese, and Nick Searcy. And to a lesser extent, both Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. Now, a gaggle of stars is skewering these so-called book bans happening across the nation. Upward of 175 actors, musicians, authors, comedians, reality stars, models, media personalities, academics, activists, and more have signed the open letter spearheaded by Reading Rainbow host LeVar Burton and published Tuesday via public advocacy organization and political action committee, also known as MoveOn.org. Oh my, Batman, what's up? Hail Hydra, brotherfucker. Did I say brotherfucker? That's a weird statement. Censorship destroys creativity. Absolutely. Now, that's your first clue. The mission is politically motivated. MoveOn.org is obviously a progressive body that promotes democratic causes. Remember what MoveOn was? Who remembers how MoveOn started? MoveOn.org. That was during the Clinton administration, right? When they were going after him for some of his shit, and they're just like, oh, you all need to just move on. So they made this whole MoveOn.org to, basically to protect President Clinton while he was in office. And then it just became basically a Democratic front group. Anyway, now, why make censorship a political matter? Here's why. One, Many of the book bans in questions involve sexually graphic tomes that have no business being in a school settings. Conservatives are trying to protect children from inappropriate material, while Democrats want this filth, it's filth, in schools nationwide. And look, they're not banning the books. And if you one of the funniest things was having Senator John Kennedy, who's already pretty funny, but him reading excerpts from the book on the Senate floor. I'm not going to play it, but it's amazing. Now, two, the conservative movement has embraced free speech as a core principle in the modern era. The left, the former champions of free expression, now favors hate speech restrictions and looks the other way as the U.S. government censors American citizens. A lot. The next time you watch college students shouting down a conservative speaker, consider the party they call home. There's only one answer, and they're proud of it. Now, when social media giants like Facebook and Twitter banned President Donald Trump 3 years ago, many celebrities cheered the move. Yeah, we can censor him. That's cool. Censor that crazy-haired motherfucker. Here's a partial list of the villains. Here's a partial list of the actors involved in this new book banning statement. Mark Ruffalo, Billy Porter. Why is Billy Porter a celebrity? I don't know. He's a black man who sings while wearing a dress. Chelsea Handler, Constance Wu, John Leguizamo, Christy Brinkley, Angie Thomas, Raquel Willis, whoever the fuck that is, Idina Menzel, Roxanne Gay, I don't know half these names, Adina Porter, Judy Bloom, Busy Phillips, that's the Wilson Phillips chick, daughter, Garbage, the band, Jody, this whole group is garbage, but anyway, Judy Picoult, Natasha Rothwell, Andy Cohen, Sarah Paulson, Emma Roberts, Abigail Disney, Jazz Jennings, who's probably regretting what she's done to herself, himself, whatever. Margaret Atwood, Michael Ian Black, Sharon Stone, Judd Apatow, Nikki Giovanni, Alyssa Milano, Bill Nye, Zooey Deschanel, Patton Oswalt, Aisha Turner, Natasha Lowe, Maya Kobabe, Zoe Lister-Jones. Okay, basically a bunch of liberal Hollywood people, which I know is redundant, but you know. How many of those stars have spoken out against sensitivity readers, big tech censorship, the Biden administration's censorship game, attacks on comedians for telling the wrong joke? Not one! To this reporter's knowledge, and if incorrect, please share the details in the comment section. Heck, Disney tried to censor Jihad Rehab, a film she previously championed after the woke top mob targeted it for extinction. It's one thing for Hollywood stars to remain silent on modern censorship. It's gross, but we can't force celebrities to speak out on every issue of the day, even one that directly impacts their art form. For some of these same stars to rally behind political charged effort that ignores the larger toxic threat to free speech is something far more insidious. So there you go. All right, gang. That's it. It's weekend time. But before you go, share the stream. Batman, share the stream. And go link and say, hey, I just watched this shit. It was okay. Or good. Or whatever you think of it. Tell the truth. Whatever you think of me. And the rest of yous. Look, I know if the stream's over. It doesn't matter. It becomes a video afterwards. In fact, here's what you could do. And here's what I'm going to suggest this, okay? As you watch this stream, there's one point in the stream that stood out to you, right? So when you share a stream on YouTube, if you click that share arrow and it shares a stream, you can decide at what point you want that to start from. So if you have a favorite part of the stream, this is your challenge today. Everyone watching, this is your challenge today. Pick out one spot in the stream and start the video there. There's a little, you hit share the stream and you click a checkbox based on where you have the cursor, little dot thing that moves across. It'll start at that point and write something about that point and share that and see if that, see what people do with it. I'm just curious if people will do that. I know I don't, because I'm not really good about going back and clipping out segments of my stream and then posting them. I should be doing that. And maybe I'll get better at that eventually. But I don't always know which parts resonate with people. So either you can do that or send me a starting point where something resonated with you, either through DMs or in the comment section of the video. And maybe I'll start making more clips myself. But for you guys, you can do that. You can share the stream and get this thing going. So thank you for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, around that time. Not at that time specifically, but near that time. It's in the morning usually. Just depends on what's going on in my word. I'm in Twitter Gulag. Well, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be on Twitter either, though. It could be anywhere. If you are on any social media, I don't care where you do it. But anyway, I appreciate you for considering it, though, too, Batman. So, share the stream somewhere with a friend, and we'll move on from there. We'll see you next week, though. Who knows if I do random streams in between then and now, but otherwise, we'll see you guys Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. My name is P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.